People busk down at Public Square. This isn't a big busking city, is it?
They'll have
Street
people
performers.
busking on East 4th from time to time.
Like, I know that when the Sax Man was alive, that was like the only person people associated with downtown doing that. Some cities, there's people on every goddamn corner. It didn't seem to be, and I never noticed it was a big thing here.
You'll get it from time to time. It's more in the summer. When it gets a little colder and wetter, it's not as common. But there'll be people when I'm going to Cavs games and stuff like that playing music or something.
And like just a guitarist, or is it like a violinist, or what do they do?
There's keyboardists. There's, it just it
a
depends.
what boardist?
Ski-boardist.
A keyboardist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Well, and it's also usually if there's events going on downtown.
Is that
when
what it
people
is?
will do that, yeah.
Because some places, man, it's like you're tripping over people.
Philly was like that.
Austin, Seattle,
Yeah.
I know those are more like hipstery kind of things, but there are other, Philly too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some people standing there, I guess depending on to what degree they need to be plugged in. But then the people you're tripping over are just like kids leaning up against the wall with a guitar in an open case.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, play this. I give you $5 if you can play this. They go, I play my own stuff. That's why there's a nickel in your case. You got to kind of play to the crowd.
Journey
I
every
think.
time.
Journey every time?
Don't stop believing.
Wow. And what a great life lesson for the busker.
Right.
Him or herself. Cavaliers going to play tonight in Miami. I don't know what the busking situation is in Miami. Maybe we'll find out. 7:30 tonight is when the Cavs play the Heat. So that's your tip-off here in MMS. You can also listen to the game on the iHeartRadio app as well. 7 o'clock, when pregame begins. If you listen to the show on the app from outside Ohio, tell me where. I'd like to know where our bureau chiefs are. David listens in Big Clifty, Kentucky.
Oh, Big Clifty.
Big Clifty. Pam is in Huntington, West Virginia. Mike listens in Tucson, Arizona. Natalie is in Vero Beach, Florida. Anne-Marie is a brand new bureau chief in Lovettsville, Virginia. A little over a half an hour away, I will have last keyword today. You get one in the morning with Rover. You get one at 5:30 with me for our iHeartRadio Alter Ego Festival, which is a little over a month away. I think the weekend of January 15th is when it goes down in L.A., send you to California in January. That's the hook, right? It's going to be a fun show, but we'll get you out of Dodge in the middle of winter. It's Coldplay and 21 Pilots, Kings of Leon, Imagine Dragons, and more. It's a completely sold-out show. So this week, your last-ditch effort to get out there, you and a pal, fly you out, put you up, get you to the show, the whole bit. You know how we do these. So 5:30, I'll have a keyword for you to win. And we will get to the Poundcake sports break around that same time, too. He was off last week. We were gone for the holiday. And so the sports break took a week off. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean that, I know we started the sports break at 90 seconds. 90 seconds? Is that what I give you?
Yes, 90 seconds.
But I'll tell you what, after a week off, if it was, let's say, 93 seconds,
I prepared
that's okay, too.
Yeah.
You prepared appropriately?
Yeah, accordingly.
All right.
We got some LeBron James, some Tristan Thompson.
Oh, yeah?
And also, UCF. Is that another...
University of Central Florida?
Oh, I guess so. I thought it was another, football league, because I thought it was like a fantasy football league or something.
No, I understand UCF to be the University of Central Florida.
Okay, well, then that's what it is. I don't know why I thought there was
You didn't look it up?
No, I have the story, but it just says UCF, and I didn't look up UCF. It said Football Star.
Yeah, because they have a team.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. That is a huge school, by the way. A lot of notable people went to UCF. Did Todd Berry go to UCF? He went to somewhere down there.
I'm not sure where
he went to school in Florida. But Tosh went to UCF. Cheryl Hines. You know who Cheryl Hines is from Curb. She went there. It's the largest public university in the United States. There's 71,000 students at UCF.
Good God.
Jeez.
Yeah. And imagine, think of that. You're in the middle of the state. You're not in the ocean.
Why?
Swamp
Why are there
lands.
so many people that want to go there?
Don't know. Just a huge, because the acceptance rate is probably 99.8% too. But yeah, so a lot of athletes come out of there, but
I was going to say, OSU, you got to be very bright, and that's a really big school too.
Contrary to popular belief.
You have to get a 28 on the ACT. I couldn't go. I didn't get a 28.
Well, did you aspire to go to Ohio State University?
Yeah, because I heard it was really fun, and my mom...
But you are also Mr. D's get degrees. So what do you care?
But
when
I
you
wasn't.
went?
I was a different person.
Oh, you wanted to go have fun.
But I wanted to go to school too. But I was a different person when I was like 18.
Well, meaning what?
Meaning
He gets degrees. It came later.
I put a lot of effort into my schooling. I was a bit of a nerd.
Oh, you mean the
just 'cause I wanted to
older you got, the less you cared about school.
Well, once I got to college, I was a bit of a slacker.
So, so when you get to college and when you get to something you're paying for, then you decide to slack off.
It's the freedom.
Is that what it is?
Probably that you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder. You
But
can,
like
you know.
I did my work, and like the problem was I studied just enough, and I got just good enough grades. Like I got
D's get degrees.
but I didn't really get D's. I just say that.
No, but
because
your
I
motto
could.
is D's get degrees.
I would get like B minuses and C pluses, and I would be like, wow, I still got to have my freedom. I got to go out and drink. I studied for like 2 or 3 hours before the test, and I got a B minus or a C. I could have gotten an A had I thoroughly and was disciplined and prepared. But I was like, I still got to have fun, and I got to, I got good enough grades. Good enough.
Great. Good for you, man. I'm proud of you. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
He's like, whew, C plus, nailed it. Yeah, well, whatever, right?
There were legit times where I walked into a class and I forgot we had like a test. I was like, oh, shrimp. Like, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And somehow, some way, I got a C plus.
That was every time we had a test. I was
Really?
like, oh, man, we got a surprise test today. And they're like, she's been talking about this for 3 weeks. And I was like, surprise test.
No, it was
Here
rare.
it is.
Oh, how unfair.
Yeah.
It happened exactly one time, and I was like, I'm never doing this again, because the sheer shock of it all, just like your stomach just falls, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am going to fail this test. And so I'm just waiting. I'm like, oh my gosh. He's just like, C plus, you could do better. I'm like, I could, but I forgot.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you got A's in some things, right?
Yeah, I did get some.
People always say, I could have done better. But you don't really know that either. Like, for most
Could have
people,
done worse, too.
if you could have done better, you would have done better.
Well, the problem is the things that I struggled with, I gave the most effort to. The things that I wasn't really concerned with, I didn't put that much effort to, because I was like, I know this. Like, I got this. I'm not going to study for this test because I know that this test is going to be a piece of cake. The teacher grades on a curve, but math, like whatever I struggled with, I'm like, oh, I got to study for weeks for this thing, and I wouldn't look forward to it.
So what was the minimum amount of time you felt okay studying for something?
The minimum amount of time?
If you're like, oh God, I got to study for weeks on this.
Well, I don't know necessarily per day. I probably like a couple hours before bed. But like there have been times where I didn't study at all, and I would wake up early because I don't like to cram, because I'm like, I know I'm going to like read all night and then go to sleep and forget everything. So I would get up early before the test.
Wait, so for you, sleeping was a mind eraser.
It was.
You would wake up, not remember what you had studied just hours before.
Yeah. So so what worked for me, I learned, was if I have a test at 9, I would get up at like 4 and, study.
But then your brain's all tired before the test.
Yeah, you're like foggy.
Your
and
recall is
I was
worse.
energized in the morning, and then I would be like, oh.
Listen, everybody's got their own process, right? Everybody's got that. Just to me seems to be that just seems to make everything harder.
Yes.
Like you feel like you're cutting corners, but you're just making things more difficult. But
Oh, you mean like having a payment plan for your vacation?
No,
and
no.
filling your gas tank up halfway?
well, no, we're talking about school. But I mean, but again, if you weren't like, oh my God, if you weren't beating yourself over the head because you didn't get an A, then I guess you do whatever you want to do, right?
Well, I got that way because I learned other methods wouldn't work. All my other friends would be like, we have study groups, and everyone would study, and everyone's like, did you remember this? And, highlighting this and circling that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I did all that. I take notes. Like, I want to get my money's worth. I want to at least, like, look like I'm paying attention. And I would do all that. I would have the notes, and none of it would make sense to me. So I did it my way, and I got it. I got through somehow.
Somehow. Yeah, and it's not like you were like a physics major or something.
But you still have to take like gen ed classes, which I didn't like.
I know, but yeah. Well, listen. Good for you. Hey, I got Kids Corner, by the way. Speaking of which,
Easy being a kid.
it's not.
Now look at what you gone done did. Whoa, it's time for Kids Corner. Kids Corner.
I didn't see the kid's name, but there is an 11-year-old in Chicago who the police are calling a prolific carjacker. He can't stop jacking people's cars.
At 11? He's a prodigy.
11.
Should be proud.
They finally got him, though. Finally collared him after he stole the vehicle of the police sergeant's wife. Now, what I'm not
Flew
clear
too
about...
close to the sun.
That's right.
Right.
What I'm not clear about is if that was accidental and just bad luck, or if he was going for the brass ring.
He
Do you
was
think-
feeling pretty confident.
Yes.
Do you think when the police chief, was it a police chief?
The police sergeant's wife.
Police
the kid,
sergeant.
Yeah,
Okay, so when the
carjacked
sergeant
the wife.
finds out that his wife's car got carjacked, do you think that he said, well, this time it's personal?
I'm getting too old for this.
Unfortunately, this 11-year-old has been arrested before, and he is considered a prolific carjacker.
The 11-year-old seems to be driving these carjackings, so he's not just there along for the ride with some other individuals.
Good pun. Maybe he wasn't making a pun, driving the carjacking. He's driving the car.
I feel like this is how Baby Driver got started.
Yeah, a literal baby started driving these cars. So the Chicago police superintendent had to call a press conference to announce that they had finally gotten the 11-year-old boy who had been carjacking and robbing people at gunpoint. The police sergeant's wife was driving a brand new BMW SUV. They found the car many hours later on the south side. And they finally got the kid. And they're going to be meeting with juvenile judges. But there's got to be somebody who's like, I want to be the one to question this kid. You know, like where companies will hire hackers to get through the firewall?
Yeah.
You know, people who would normally do it, and they go, look, you got into our security systems. We'll pay you to show us where our weaknesses are.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Frank Abagnale, who was the movie
Catch Me If You Can.
is based on. He was doing all these forgeries of checks and things like that, and then ended up working for the FBI to spot things like that. So maybe this kid will help the police to stop so many carjackings.
Maybe so.
Dude,
I
I
don't
think
know.
about 11. My niece is 10. And the things that she's still very much a child, you know? And like the things that she does where I'm like, oh, what a cute little girl. To imagine 11-year-old, her with a gun, holding up people for their car. That's insane.
Could you get out of the car, please? Or I'll shoot you.
My Jojo Siwa bow.
Yeah.
You never see it coming though.
crazy.
If a little kid comes up to you, you are not thinking you're about to get carjacked.
No. Maybe that's how he does it. He plays into
Yeah.
it. Where he's like a lost little boy or something.
Would you like to buy Reese's Pieces for $9 a piece for my school's basketball team? And then she opens it up and goes, sure. And there's a gun inside and he grabs it.
Move, bitch.
Get out the way. Speaking of kids and guns, they have identified the kid who's responsible for killing those other kids in Michigan at Oxford High School. Ethan Crumley is 15 years old. It's a chubby kid with glasses. They're figuring that the kid got bullied. Used a 9mm that his dad just bought on Black Friday. 4 students are now dead. One of them was hanging on, but that student has died. There were 7 others injured. This is about half an hour north of Detroit, out there in Oxford, Michigan. The dad had just bought the gun. Apparently the kid was already dicking around with it and had put something on Instagram about it. So, you know, another one of those responsible gun owners we're always hearing so much about. And there's a clip going around today you might have seen where he pretends to be a sheriff
Yeah, that
to
was
let these
really-
kids, because kids have their phones, so they're filming or they're calling their parents
Yeah.
or whatever. And he tries to get into a classroom that they have already barricaded with like desks and put things against the door. A bunch of kids are hiding in this classroom, and he pretends to be a cop. And they didn't let him in. You saw the video of the kids climbing out the window.
He said, let me in, bro. And they're like, he said, bro. And then they all just like scatter. They all run out of this classroom.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Not funny.
Sheriff's office. Safe to come out.
Yeah, I said it's safe to come out.
Now, we're not willing to take that risk right now. I can't hear you. We're not taking that risk right now. Okay, well, come to the door and look at my bag, bro.
Yeah, bro.
He said bro.
He said bro. Red flag.
The chick laughing. He said, bro, red flag.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. Kid's got a deep voice for 15.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't sound like a kid.
Well, he was. So they've got him, and now they got to figure out what's what, but they've got 4 dead students, 6 injured ones, and an injured teacher coming out of that whole thing.
Why even? Never mind. I don't understand why. What is the point of being a teacher? Kids are unappreciative. You're underpaid. You're underappreciated. You have to wear a bulletproof vest, and now
Well,
you
they
have
still
to
want to make a contribution. I mean, there are
pay taxes. That's your contribution.
We
Listen,
just
like,
pay
saying
taxes.
Get rid of all
I mean,
teachers?
yeah,
I mean,
some people have to. Some people want to teach.
do it online.
Some people like educating children.
But it's just
But the
not
kid had
working.
already. But again, you know, some of these school shooting situations where it, by all accounts, kind of comes out of nowhere, where the parents are flabbergasted, like
or they don't know how he got the gun.
don't
they're
know
not
how he
gun
got the
owners.
gun. This kid, his dad bought the goddamn thing on Friday. Clearly didn't lock it up, so the kid's like posting things on Instagram with it. But like lame Robert Oppenheimer quotes on there, you know. So he had posted photos of himself with it. His dad, the gun had been like in the house for a couple of days. I mean, that's Michigan too, but still, you know, dad, hey, look at this.
Yeah, but it could be anywhere. I mean,
It could be anywhere, but you know, still trying to determine a motive. But they said that that the kid was probably bullied.
They had a lawyer on hand.
Oh yeah, the parents are like, don't
Family
say
thing.
anything. And again, he's just like
if that's your kid, do you
for
even-
what he sounds like, he doesn't look 15.
What's his name? I want to look him up.
His name is Ethan Crumley.
I was just gonna say, if that's your kid, how do you handle that situation?
Well, the dad sounds like a real dope. I mean, you're right. How do you handle it? There's nothing you can do about it now. But you bought the thing on Friday, and your kid's taking pictures with it on Instagram on what, Sunday? On the kid's Instagram. I think they're still trying to determine if the dad bought it for the kid. But I don't know that that's where they're leaning. Just that the dad bought it on Black Friday. Because they probably had some amazing deals on them at the local Walmart or whatever. So, yeah, they're digging into the kids, you know. Speaking of guns, Alec Baldwin is doing a thing tonight. Is it tonight? The Alec Baldwin interview? His first interview. He's sitting down with George Stephanopoulos for 2020. I think that's tonight. Talking about that movie where he killed the cinematographer.
He's doing an interview already?
Yeah. Well, I played that clip a couple of weeks ago when he was talking to the paparazzi, trying to just get them to stop following him and his wife. But yeah, ABC Tonight, it's his first sit down where he's talking to George Stephanopoulos.
Did they close the investigation already?
No. So he's, you know, who knows what he's going to say, or I'm sure that his lawyers have told him what he can and can't say. If I were him, I'd look at George Stephanopoulos and go, George, here's the thing. Wink. Because you know he does that podcast.
I'm Alec Baldwin, and you're listening to Here's the Thing from iHeartRadio.
Mm-hmm. What a weird line reading for that, by the way. Mm-hmm. We always say iHeartRadio from iHeartRadio.
Alec Baldwin, and you're listening to Here's the Thing from iHeartRadio.
Dude's got amazing pipes, though.
So
I'm
good. It's so sexy.
jealous of Alec Baldwin. I mean, not now, but, you know, boy, for the pipes.
Pipes and looks.
Oof, boy. I got a break. I'm not jealous of having this friggin' brood of kids under 4 years old or whatever, but when you marry a yogurt teacher, I did say yogurt teacher.
Yogurt teacher.
When you marry
I teach yogurt.
My fruit is on the bottom.
How you like that, Alan? Yo played yourself.
All right, listen. The Poundcake sports break is after the break. I'll say break one more time. And then I'll have a trip to L.A. for you for the iHeartRadio Alter Ego Festival coming up at 5:30. So listen for that keyword, and we'll be back.